what I did. I have a lot of half points.
Okay, so Amy, tell us, I'm going to call you Class A. How many students did you have that were not proficient?
2.
Partially proficient?
3.
Proficient? And exemplary.
4.
Okay. Right, your B just because you're next to me.
Okay, 1. I don't have anyone.
Okay. Choose.
Do 2.5 count, or are those considered?
So that's a good question. Are we rounding up or down?
The problem I had with this too is that they may have been
That's, we just said the exact
characters
same.
they did, settings they did.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we needed
Like,
to split it up.
She has 5 characters
So it's kind of
in one setting. So then I'm giving her proficient because she was here, but she was here.
Yeah, so in
it's
the middle, yep,
Yes.
and that's how I did it.
Your hair's a little crazy right now. I figured you didn't care, but we're being recorded. I just wanted you to know.
So I have some that are halves. Like, did they, like,
So what do you think? Round up or round down? Just for this.
I went right in the middle. If I had a 1 and a 3, then they were a,
but what if you have, like, so our standard says, okay, so I have one person who has, how do you give that example? So this person has 4 characters, but he only has 1 setting that he can tell me about. So I gave him a 2.5. And then, like, I have, let me find.
So I guess that child is not yet proficient.
And- yeah,
So
and-
we better say,
so I gave him a
Partially.
2.
Two.
Partially.
Yeah. And then, like, this one I have, so she is more than 4 characters, but only 3 houses. So that'd be in between a 3 and a 4.
I think we need to split it because they're 2 separate things.
How does she have more than 4 characters?
Because she has the 3 pigs, the mom pig, and the
the mom, the dad,
the wolf, and then she has the 3 houses. So she has 4 characters, or 5 characters, but 3 houses.
Well, in settings we said 3 plus.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'd maybe put her at exemplary because she has more of the characters.
She has 3. And okay.
I don't know, that's my opinion.
I think it's 2 totally different concepts.
So we should have done
We should have
a
done
character
separate.
and then a setting.
Because the more conversations I'm having with my kids, I have a lot, not a lot, but I'm having more kids who are having trouble with setting.
so we're going
Understanding that
to, number
concept.
7 is, do we need to tweak or improve this assessment?
Yes.
So
Okay.
I think the answer to that is perhaps.
Well, and I have these right here that I would need help with too, then I guess.
Okay, so
Okay,
how many
so-
twos do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
How many threes?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay, and fours?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Megan, ones?
0.
Twos?
Well, hold on, 1, 0, because I don't even know what this is.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 twos.
Okay, threes?
5.
And fours? Okay, Charlie?
Starting 4s or
Ones.
1s. I have 4 1s.
Okay. Twos?
I have 3.
Threes?
Ten
And fours.
and 4.
Okay. So the first question is, in what areas did our students do well on the assessment? And Darlie, you already started to answer that a little bit. Character. So
But see, mine did well in settings.
yours did better on settings.
Because mine just got mixed up with some of the other books. I had a kangaroo, mine did better with settings in this one.
Okay. So this is might be where this is important. What instructional strategies helped our students do well? So I'm wondering if what you did with settings was different than Why do you think they did well in settings?
I don't know.
What did you do during the week leading up
Well,
to
I
it?
used the poster that I made,
Okay.
and I broke it down. I taught characters one day, settings one day, and then the third day we reviewed both.
Same? Okay, so it's not
it's
about
not- it
different
should've been, 'cause
teaching,
we
it's
all
just
had it,
about,
yeah.
okay. Okay, so the next question is what skill deficiencies do we see? So,
My kids, instead of telling character and setting, retold.
okay,
So I think it's just helping them to understand the difference between describing what happened, they told me the events, they were telling the story instead of just,
So they're ready for next week.
so they're, but they still needed prompting to be able to, I mean, like that's a setting and that's a character, she's got them flip-flopped and but they're telling the story. They're not able to specifically answer the question, who is in the story.
okay.
But
But they could get there when they had to draw the picture.
she flip-flopped the pictures. Characters, she put a house. The setting, she put the wolf. Or the mom. She put a mom as crying.
Those are your one kids?
These are my one
Okay.
kids. So, not quite. She's got character and setting mixed up, and she's...
And I had a couple
Wow.
who did nothing but characters.
Show this one.
That's nice.
Oh, thanks, Autumn.
So when we think about that, what can we capture the skill deficit for her?
I think maybe going back a step and providing the pictures from the story and having them sort characters and setting and kind of using that first, so kind of scaffolding, start with that, give them the pictures and then having them do a sort and then have them draw or tell.
Okay, so Darla just did numbers 5 and 6 together, which students did not master the standard will need additional time and support. We've identified what intervention will be provided to address the unlearned skills. And I think that's when I look at what those ones look like, they aren't ready. They need something more.
They need us to give them the visuals.
They need the visuals.
So that they can, and then practice with that before they can do it on their own, before they can do it
So it's
on-
give the visuals and sort into character and setting. So do you think that next week, what's next week? Gingerbread?
Goats.
Goats. Next week on goats, that you'll want to move on with everybody else and then provide those kiddos with some practice with goats. Who are the characters in goats? Who are which you're going to do pictures for that one anyway, aren't you?
Yes.
So then it's just different pictures for those. Okay? So then the next question is, do we need to tweak or improve the assessment? My question is, though, did it give us the information? What you maybe want to tweak is how we scored it. Right?
Have a
Separate
character score and a
setting,
setting
and then we
score.
can combine.
So it's not the assessment itself, it's our measurable
Yes.
criteria.
We could do, this side gets to 0 to 4, this one 0 to 4, and then combine the scores.
Yes. Okay, good. So,
Well, we didn't have a 0. It's a 0. If they did, well, no, that's a 1.
One is
No,
none.
1 is none.
Yeah.
But I don't think they should get that.
if they didn't do it, I mean, but I guess what we're saying is
Yeah,
that
okay.
1 equals not proficient.
Okay.
Because,
Well, because she would be a 2 for characters, but she's a 1 for setting.
Who's
But
the
I
other
s-
pig?
Well, that's a good point. I don't know.
Mama Pig and
Everybody
the other
else could
pig.
tell me 1 pig, 2
Right,
pig, 3.
right.
She and hers says other pig.
Well, and Chloe told me wolf house, other house, that brick house, that mama's house. But she did 5 characters. So with the other house, I just think that she couldn't remember straw.
Mhm,
But
the
it's also
vocabulary
hard for
word,
her to
not-
say.
Yes.
Yes.
And see, and I had some color. They did the colors instead of remembering the names.
Mhm.
So they
The
had,
yellow house, the brown house, the red house.
like this kid. That's the straw. That's the
Yep.
brick, and that's
Yep.
the stick.
Yep.
Like that's what he told me when I asked, "What's this girl?" Shit, it's like that's what a house is.
When one
It's
of
not
my
a house, but it's the colors.
Mhm.
one of my kids drew a fire.
Oh, from the
from
pool.
the end.
But we never talked about that being a setting because it was in the brick house. But he's also the one who every page raised his hand and he's like, "We moved houses. Now they're at the brick house." I'm like, but they were at the brick house on the last page. Oh yeah, never mind.
He just wanted to tell.
He just was
tell the set, which is
He's
kind of back to
retelling.
what Darla was saying, that it's retelling the story and not just quickly identifying character and
I
setting.
was going to say, because I feel like right now when we're teaching this is such a late point in the year to start teaching character and setting. Last year, we used, is it the Kim Adsit thing? She is something that's on retelling, and it goes through Little Red Riding Hood, and it has 3 settings, and it shows the arrows of the arrows of the settings changing, and then you move the characters as you retell it. And I felt like using that really set my kids up for success last year with being able to first retell and then talk about characters and talk about how the setting can change and using the settings in order.
So
to
I just
retell
wrote,
the
when we think
characters.
about Unit 1 for next year, to maybe think about having retelling
Retelling.
as our first. So we'll want to look at that in our
Because I almost
standards
wonder
thing.
how it would
No,
be
you're right.
different
That should.
if we start with retell as a whole and then break it down into the pieces.
Okay, so the last question is, do you have any students who were in that exemplary category that you feel like need some extension, or do you feel like what you have planned for next week is already, you think yours are okay? So what that says to me
I've already moved her on to beginning, middle, and end.
is maybe the extension really is in that written component. That if they're a kiddo who can label or write, that the expectation becomes that they are labeling and writing
Instead of using the pictures.
instead of, or doing both, which is what Deja did. But I think that that's an easy way to extend or ask more. How about your other 4s? Did your other 4s do that?
I had some of mine, but I mean they wrote pegs, P-E-K-S, in both.
Both. Funny.
Yeah. And then like this one labeled
Yeah.
mom and 3 pegs.
Well, because this one he just wrote
Yeah.
words too.
Ruby did and Logan did.
This kid tried to.
She drew pictures. Well,
Most
when I
of my
taught
boards
it,
were yours.
I wrote and drew. So
Mhm.
like take
too.
one and
Mhm.
labeled, and that's
Mhm.
what he did.
I didn't write, but he remembered he made all of the characters from all of the books that we had read.
All the different
And
versions?
all of the settings. And he drew the books. Remember the one weird 3 Little Pigs where they're flying through the
Oh,
books?
yes.
He made the books. He drew, and I said, "What are those?" And he said, "Remember when they're flying through the books?" So he was recalling details
whole
from
week.
all of the stories. So.
So does
Didn't
that feel okay to just think that our plan for extending and enriching is
write. Yeah.
writing and maybe it being a requirement and not? Okay, so for the most part, we felt like we've got character still maybe firming up setting a little bit, wanting to really think about identifying character and setting instead of just retelling.
I think we have character for this story, but
Can-
across
Okay.
different stories.
That maybe that's the same, is that they can retell consistently, but being able to identify character across time.
Books.
Okay. For those kiddos who needed some additional support, you're going to do some pictures for the goats and have them sort them into 2 piles. These are the characters, these are the settings. We want to adjust the scoring for the next time we give this, and I think also as we move forward, thinking about the next ones, how do we get our scoring so that we can get them?
Well, because with Frog and Toad and Little Bear, we do main events.
Mhm.
So what happened in the beginning, middle, and end. And then we also do, I think, problem. But with
Mhm.
Are we doing events with goats?
Frog and Toad,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not, yeah.
we talk about
Then it's problem solution, right?
adventures.
Characters across adventures.
I thought next week we were comparing contrasting.
No,
two
it's-
littles,
that's
so
gingerbread.
That's gingerbread.
Gingerbread.
we changed it again.
Mm-mm.
No, it's been.
It's been the same.
I thought it was compare and contrast with the Venn diagram, and then we were doing the same, different.
We are the gingerbread.
Oh, no, I
thought
hear what
compare and
she's saying.
contrast was with
Mm.
the goats.
No, because it's the same story. We can't compare and contrast because it's the same.
It's the-
too
Three billy
similar.
goats
Oh,
grass.
It's the
Right.
same.
It's too similar.
Yeah.
So.
So we're-
no. We're going to do. Is that the newest?
Is that the
from
new-
Friday?
It's the one I printed today.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think we're good, right?
Mhm.
So we're ready to move on to next week.